Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes. The guys are here. I am here. Hopefully, you're there and joining us for the lively art of news and conversation. Welcome in. Hey, Khameron, how are you?
Hey, Sybil. Hey, Damon. I'm doing very well today. How are you all?
I'm good. I'm good. You guys got a little bit of weather today.
A little bit, right, Damon? First snowfall of the winter so far.
So, is this official enough to stick and not inches and inches, but a dusting, as they say?
Enough to cause some disgruntlement and frustration.
Yes. Okay, right. Speaking of disgruntlement and frustration, hello, Damon.
Yes, I am disgruntled. I get melancholy and upset when the leaves start to change and it gets dark early. And then I woke up and the grass was covered, but it melted. But still, there's no lakefront bike ride today. So and now you don't know when the next time that'll happen, and that always bugs me.
So, Damon, are you affected by seasonal affective disorder? What they call SAD, by the changing of the season, daylight saving time going away, the early darkness, the cold, not as much light?
Yeah, just briefly, but I tend to address my mental disorders with optimism.
That's true. What about you, Khameron?
Not so much. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, when the winter comes, all of the riffraff and the vagabonds are typically sequestered in their respective domiciles. Everyone's trying to get from A to B. And if someone seeks to accost you, you can see them coming because they're the only person on the street.
Right. And you can hear the crunch, crunch, crunch of boots or whatever it is.
Yeah. However it is they choose to approach nowadays. But yeah, I happen to like the winter very much. I was very pro climate change winter. Mm-hmm. But I guess Chicago sticking true to itself threw a bit of a curveball at us today.
Well, wasn't it a week ago we were talking about 70-degree temperatures and all was good? Of course, Damon was in 80 and probably 90-degree temperatures in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah. But that makes it worse when you have to come back. Yeah. When you land. But let me tell you what happened. I had a mishap with my flight Saturday. So, what happened? They delayed our flight. So we landed. We were supposed to leave at 6. They said we were leaving at 9. And we were there at 3:30. So I'm like, I'm not sitting in this airport from 3:30 till 9 o'clock.
Right.
So I said, let's grab an Uber, go catch a movie. Right. Mm-hmm. Wanted to catch Wakanda, couldn't get to that. So we saw Black Adam. Right in the middle of the film, I get a text that my plane is about to take off.
Shut up.
Whoa. So they left us. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale. What do? I call Tom Joyner. What does he say? Hey, I'm at the game right now, but go by the house. I'll let him know. And he put us up for the night.
Oh,
yeah, put us up and bought dinner. We had a 5:30 a.m. flight, so we got up out of there. So he's moved now. He has a lair. Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. First of all, I was wondering if he was on that coast,
right?
Because you never know where Tom is going to be. But lucky for you, all did turn. Oh, Damon, that sucks.
It does. And, because we had checked our bags also, so we had nothing, but the clothes on our back.
Right.
And I had a flight the next day on a separate reservation, which had such a tight window that there's no way I would have been able to come out, go down to baggage, get my bag, and go back and catch my flight. And if I didn't catch that flight, there would have been no nonstop. So it would have took me 6 hours to get from Chicago to Cleveland, which is ludicrous.
Yeah. You do that and you're driving in your sleep.
Yeah. So anyway, it all worked out. Called my SkyCap buddy and baggage service on the other end. They hooked me up, got my bags, did the Kim Sellers Foundation event Sunday, and it went fantastic.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep.
That is
met a new friend, Alex Bouillon. I've been a big fan of his music forever.
I'm a fan of his
too.
Oh, nice.
That's dope.
Awesome. Yolanda, can you throw up that message again talking about the weather?
Yeah, from Jacqueline from YouTube, I believe.
Every day of winter is one day closer to spring. All right. I love that, Jacqueline, on YouTube. Every day of winter is one day closer to spring. That's how
Jacqueline is probably in Texas.
Well, it was a little chilly. We've had a lot of rain and it was overcast. And It's in about 45 degrees today, so
Oh.
if that means anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no snow yet, and it's the weather thing. Here we start. We go all over again. We'll talk about Wakanda. I'm interested to hear your thoughts if you did get a chance to see it or not, or Black Adam. I would like to hear about that too. So we shall talk about that. And Khameron, in terms of the weather, is it affecting your travel or anything?
I am on good old CTA. CTA has had a notorious reputation of ghosting people.
Yeah.
Recently, there have been and then there's now this phenomena of ghost trains, of completely empty trains because they're off schedule for some reason. But I haven't experienced that. My train and buses experiences have been packed to capacity with all sorts of characters doing all sorts of things that shouldn't be done on a bus or a train.
Have you had any adventures lately on the train?
The train has been pretty relaxed so far. I happen to ride as close as I can to the conductor nowadays. The best thing that I've seen so far is that I caught someone reading a fantasy sci-fi series that I had read previously, and we had a chance to talk
neat. Okay.
about it. Yeah, that was really cool.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that too. Let's take a look at the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. What You Need to Know is what it's called. And that's what we try to give you, what you need to know in terms of news and other things that are in the news, whether it's political, whether it's social justice or LGBTQ+, mental health and wellness, coronavirus, giving you updates, what's going on. Or we're starting to get a slowdown in coronavirus stories. So coronavirus events that are having an effect on today's news. You'll find that as well as the HBCU Corner and the Little Known Black History Fact. It is absolutely free. If you'd love to subscribe, and we'd love to have you as a part of the What You Need to Know news crew, please go to SybilWilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and it'll be in your email box every Monday through Friday morning, including holidays. And we also put in birthday salutes. And I just might mention that, Damon, I saw that your mom's birthday is coming up, just in case you might have, let it slip your mind. So
no, not at all.
Good for you. Good son that you are. Okay.
Not at all.
All right. So let's check out the What You Need to Know newsletter. And Damon, talk about the president's trip to Indonesia for the top 20 summit. And how is he getting tough on China, and how is this affecting us?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, because she said Damon, and I'm like,
I'm sorry,
Damon, please.
I'm sorry, Khameron.
Hey, I feel like it's not a big deal because obviously they are balling out in Bali, so they're not serious anyway. Ain't no work gonna get done. But back to you, Khameron.
Back to you, Khameron. Thank you, Damon.
Well, yeah, thank you, Damon. President Biden just released this fact sheet about investing $500 million into Indonesian infrastructure that boosts climate change resiliency, food and energy and things like that. And this is in direct response to his meeting with President of China, Xi Jinping. Yes, Xi Jinping, where they talked about the global market economy. They decried Russia's casual talks of using nuclear weapons. And in that same stroke, President Biden banned exportation of computer chips to China. The reason why this is really important is because China only imports computer chips. They don't make them domestically. And China is going to retaliate in some way. So Sybil, Damon, I want you all to imagine what it will look like for us if China banned exportation of plastic to the United States. Family Dollar now becomes Family $10.
Right. It's already $1.25.
Right.
For a dollar tree, $1.25 tree. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And all those beauty supply stores now become, VIP beauty fashionista boutiques overnight. And so this global market economy, these foreign policy things that just pass us by, it still affects everybody from all levels. I mean, this is of course evidenced by Russia's war with Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And President Biden's $500 million investment into Indonesia isn't a $500 million investment into the Black community domestically. So these are things that we need to remember when 2024 rolls around and he says, "Oh, I was tough on China." Great, but were you tough on Congress? Were you tough on the Senate to get the George Floyd crime bill passed? No.
And no talk about that is now they're about to lose the leadership in the House and still a very slim lead of one vote potentially in the Senate to get any of this stuff done. It's going to be interesting, Khameron, and especially when we talk about the chips, because that has been the problem with new car sales. And new car sales, because they didn't have the chips available. Now, chip factories have sprung up over the last several months in this country, but it's not being done fast enough. And so, as the new cars wait for the placement of the chips inside the vehicles, the price of used cars are still going through the roof. It's starting to get a little bit better. And this is at the same time that inflation is going on. And so the prices of everything are just beyond the reach of so many of us.
Yeah, there was this arms race for computer chips, and now the market is flooded with computer chips now. They're just sitting around. America is really hoping for the holiday season to, get some of these computer chips off of the market. But so many things use them nowadays.
Right.
And President Biden is really trying to see what China's going to do because Japan's trying to be the largest exporter of computer chips now. President Xi Jinping has not been nice to Japanese people recently.
No.
So in
And
that global,
he don't like the Japanese. He don't like the Taiwanese. It's like he don't even like some of his own. Did you see the way he took out one of the members of the Chinese hierarchy as he was confirmed for another term?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. President Xi Jinping is going to be president of China forever, and we should really be aware of how he responds to this global market economy.
So what do you think, Damon? Are we up a creek?
Well, not if we just go back to using carburetors. Let's build some more. Let's go Cuba style.
Okay, go with the old school cars, right?
Yeah, get us some old school. No, but that would be horrific for the environment. Hopefully cooler heads will prevail. But China has been very stubborn and very steadfast in their pursuit of dominance and wanting to become the number one global economy. But it's just the things that it's so many things that touch our lives, like Walmart. Everything in there is from China.
Yeah. Remember when it used to be everything you would go into Walmart and you say made
in USA? Yeah, China. And if Walmart prices go up, that's just like if Southwest flights go up, the market goes up. So I don't understand where life is headed for the average American or average person if the housing costs, transportation, groceries, everything is shooting up. They got to get a cap on it, and we definitely shouldn't be doing anything to antagonize those that can influence it, making it even worse.
Yeah, Bezos is banking on a recession. They all are.
Yeah.
Recessions are good for rich people.
Right.
But the rest of us, like the 10,000 people that are waiting with, holding their breath at Amazon to find out who's going to get fired by Jeff Bezos, as he has promised to give the preponderance of his wealth, billions of dollars, to charities. When you've got people who are living, paycheck to paycheck in some respects for the jobs that they have at Amazon.
They know who's going to get fired at Amazon. The ones that have been making them videos. I don't do nothing at work. I don't do. They're going first. They're going to look at Instagram first. That's the first 2,000 right there. This is what I do at the job. I don't be doing nothing. I don't know if y'all seen those videos, but they be playing on the forklifts and laying on the boxes.
Yeah.
They going first.
Yeah. Peeking in the boxes. Oh, what do we have here? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Those, I'm sorry. I really feel, especially, I mean, this time of year, obviously, but anytime when people lose their jobs, it's hard to fathom, people living in this economy. But you're right. Those people, who call and say, I don't feel good. You don't need me to, it's like, I don't. The heavy set Amazon truck driver, he out of there because they time him, So the one who refuses to go in a container, and I don't blame him or her.
Yeah, but I'm saying the ones that don't run up to the porch and drop off the package, the ones that meander to the porch, out of here.
Meander. That's one of my favorite words, Damon. Thank you so much.
Yep, the meanderers are going first too.
Yeah, they're going first. The meanderers are first. Absolutely. So tonight, as we are recording this, Donald Trump is supposed to make his surprise announcement that he's going to be making a third run for the White House. A lot of people are not happy, including a lot of Republicans. Yeah. They are saying, Khameron, that, this is not the time. Your endorsed candidates, if they barely made it, still waiting to find out about Herschel. You're seeing this great schism that is separating the Republican Party, and however you want to come out, fast and hard against Ron DeSantis, this is not the time to do it. And your ego should not be playing a part in this. It should be about the good of the party.
He is not a team player. It's just that simple.
And
it's good because they're infighting, because there are some Republicans and conservatives that really have the best interests of the country at heart, or they got into politics that way, but they've been bullied into falling, a lockstep with Trump's agenda. So now, as his power is eroding, hopefully some of them will have the courage. Even Mike Pence, I've been seeing him talking pretty feisty. He's being diplomatic, but he's throwing his shade at the same time.
Yeah. I didn't know that he had diplomacy in him, but I guess
or personality.
There's that. And he's been, I guess he has a book coming out also, the conversation about whether he is going to run for president as well. And he's been doing this interview with ABC's chief anchor, David Muir. And David Muir has been asking him these questions, and he's very measured in his responses, almost to the point where sometimes you want to put a mirror under his nose to see if he's still with us as he's answering the question.
He's a polished politician, snake oil selling preacher type, because they asked him questions and he was so evasive, and he pivoted right back to the book and our family values, and and we'll see what 2023 what my call. They interviewed him local ABC today. What my calling on my life will be for then. So he put the evangelical spin on the, he's a robot.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Khameron, about Mike Pence?
Mike Pence is like eerily composed. So much so that, remember during the debate when there was like a fly on his hair?
The vice presidential debate, right?
Yeah, he just didn't even flinch, and I know that he could hear it.
And that fly had more personality too, if you think.
The fly was probably the one that drove up his poll numbers less.
Seriously.
But to have your life at the hands of others, and to know that they were being controlled by what people in his party have called a madman at that time on January 6th, and to be as calm and almost animatronic like, it's really weird to watch him. One of the other people that is talking about, what he's going to do is Ron DeSantis. Of course, he had a big victory in Florida, and so And there's a lot of noise coming out of his camps regarding, what to expect and what's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, but for people to still support Donald Trump with his tactics, for him to say DeSantis doesn't want to come out because I got some dirt on you, not because he's not a good politician or because he's not prepared yet. But I got some dirt on you. I'm about to spill the beans.
Really, sir? Because the stuff that's coming out about you.
But not to mention, but you endorsed and supported him being the governor of one of our states. But you got all this dirt on him. If he's not qualified, then he shouldn't be qualified to be governor either. So
that begs the question: what did he have on? Did he know about Herschel before Herschel's dirt came out? And what does it take to stand up and endorse someone of real principles and honesty and all of that kind of stuff? That's definitely not what the Republicans are representing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's a turbulent time,
and it's wild to see how the data is forthcoming, but more and more Latino voters are voting for the GOP. More and more young Black male voters are voting for the GOP too. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Why are there is just a total deficit of just reasonable, logical people. And I don't like to be elitist and equate it to a matter of intelligence. It's there. I think there's just an absence of humanity and humanism.
That really brings up a good point, Khameron. And for people who are watching, we're going to get to our what's really going on question of the day, because it does relate to that, I think. But as we move there, I just want to remind people that also in the What You Need to Know newsletter, check out Katrina Kraft's weekly column. She is our ultimate tax advisor. And what she talks about every week is of grave importance to us all. So the question of the day, one of the recent days of this month was Chicken Soup for the Soul Day. And so my question is, what are you doing for your soul? For me, it's not watching politics. It does nothing for my soul, I promise you. So is that going to church? Is it, having some chicken soup to warm your soul? Is it prayer? Is it some form of meditation? How do you soothe your soul? That is the question of the day. I'm telling you, all this discussion about politics, I love it, but it does nothing to soothe my soul. I can tell you that for sure.
That's fair.
But they won't break your soul either.
No, they won't.
They won't break your soul.
No, brother. No, I'm not sure what kind of shimmy that was there, Khameron. But
sorry, my Carlton hands were down below. But...
Got
it. And back to what you were saying about people leaning Republican, especially Hispanics and Blacks, males. I think the one thing that they have going for them looking back is, for selfish reasons, people remember the economy of the Trump era. And so, Republicans tend to not care about humanity, but they care about the bottom line. So if they're going to lower my taxes, to each man better, pull yourself up by your bootstrap. And I don't know if that's younger Black males talking, but that's the voice I have for it. So you just never know. And then the Latin population, that's inexplicable, because he went so hard on Spanish countries, and immigrants and such. So I don't know where we're going with all of this, man. But the thing about us, we're resilient, and we've survived through some horrendous administrations, including the Reagan administration, both the Bush eras. So we'll figure it out as a people, but it shouldn't be this hard.
Okay, Barbara Ferguson on YouTube says she soothes her soul listening to gospel music. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'd like to know what your gospel music choices are. Olivia Ferguson said on Facebook, says prayers and talk about what God has done for me. Yeah, that is a powerful testimony there and soothing one's soul. Janet Ferguson said, cooking, especially now since it's getting cold. I love trying new recipes. I like a good gumbo, and I can eat soup every day, Janet Ferguson. So those are, and it doesn't matter what the weather is outside. 95 to 100 degrees in Dallas or 40 degrees. I would love a good cup of gumbo, just saying. Brian Scott says, watching comedies and listening to music soothes my soul. Yeah, I mentioned what my guilty pleasure is, and now it's getting a little bit ridiculous, fellas, because not only are the 2 Hallmark channels showing Christmas movies, but Lifetime is starting their Christmas series as well, and I just it's a little ridiculous, but I'm that's what soothes me and helps me to sleep. Right. So, what about you, Khameron? What do you do? You're a very introspective fellow. What do you do to soothe your soul?
Yeah, I have just taken a liking to, I've got like 3 different journals. I've got a personal journal where I just like vent everything, no matter how it comes out. I've got a wellness journal where I like grade myself week by week about the things that I've done. And then of course, like my third journal is just like my goals and aspirations.
So and do you journal every day? Are you dedicated and disciplined enough to journal every day?
I do my wellness journal week by week for sure. Personal journal is usually when I know that I need a brain dump just to kind of like balance myself. And then whenever I'm at a critical life juncture, I'll go back to my goals and aspirations and just, do, pros and cons or whatever. Typically, as of late, my, goals and aspirations usually is just where I debate whether or not I'm going on a date with the young lady. But that's where those things go.
And is that true for your generation, Damon? In terms of journaling, are you a journaler?
I have a huge regret that I did not journal my journey through comedy. I just had this conversation when someone said, "What would you tell your younger self?" I would say, "Start a journal." Now I document everything through social media and videos and such. But no, I don't, and that's something at this point I probably should journal, going forward, so I can remember this, because my memory, all I remember is jokes. But to soothe my soul, you know what I do when I really want to feel good about myself?
What's that?
I pay the whole bill, not just the past due.
Come on,
boy! You pay when they call you and they say the past due is this and the whole is that. I just pay the whole. I'm like, I pay the whole bill, because I always only pay the past due. No, but more so, no, that's a good feeling when you pay the whole bill. Anyway, spending downtime, especially being at home, that's my favorite thing. Just being in my little space in the back, and like when we come together at night, like she'll watch her stuff, I'll watch my stuff, and then at some point we'll be in one of the rooms together and we'll find something to watch. And like music and comedy, like the gentleman said, those are my 2 places of solace. I can listen to music, 24 hours a day. So I need to maybe get something more introspective and with more depth, like journaling. But right now it's just that, paying a whole bill and watching something funny.
But Damon, whatever works for you, you know what I mean? Whether it's cooking or, whatever it is, whatever makes you, lifts your soul and makes you feel better and takes you out of those winter doldrums or whatever it is. Maybe, things aren't going so well in your personal life or your work life, whatever lifts you, and having a job that enables you to make those full payments, that's good.
Yeah, especially, really comedy, stand-up, the actual art form, the actual performance is also a place of solitude. No matter what my day is like, no matter what I'm going through, when it's time to go up, it goes away. And like I've had an abscess throbbing, and I was hosting the show. I remember it was House of Blues, and there were multiple comedians, and I'm hosting. So in between the comedians, it would be so much pain. But when I grabbed the mic and went back out there, it would kind of go away for a while. So I'm fortunate in that way that I've pursued my passion, and it's become my occupation. But everything can't be about work and business. So music and humor around the house is great for me as well.
Absolutely. Tell me what it was like to meet Alex Munoz.
Oh, it was so low key. That man is so humble. So our ride, they had a driver, the person that was the runner to pick us up, and we actually came in at the same time. So I called the guy, and I'm like, I'm here. He said, well, go to door number 4. Alex Munoz is already out there. But it was a little cold, so we were both out there. And I'm like, Alex? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, man, I'm a huge fan, and I'm the comedian. I'm hosting. And he was very, receptive to all of that. And then we rode in the same car together, and we were talking. Then we got to the hotel. We had to check in at the front desk and go through the same little. And he was like just a regular, average guy that happened to be from France/Switzerland, where he was born, but he's actually French. And super chill dude. He was traveling, alone. It was like running into another comedian, but he was a musician. And then I told him, I knew one of his songs. I could whistle from top to bottom, and yeah, and he didn't play it, but I didn't tell him until afterwards that's my, you had to play 107 degrees in the shade, man.
Right.
But we exchanged numbers, and I might, I have to say that I'm doing my first headliner Chicago gig at the City Winery in January, which goes on sale tomorrow, celebrating my 30 years. And I'm going to start doing music and comedy. So I got his info so I could bring him on one of those shows, and he was very receptive to it.
Nice.
Yep.
That is
good
so
dude,
great.
Really nice. You couldn't be more humble.
You love to hear that about people. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Let us continue. Yolanda, do we have more people who want to share with us what soothes their souls? Janet Ferguson says, listening to my music while I'm cooking. All right, Janet, on Facebook, cooking and listening to good music. Kimberly Jackson on Facebook says, comedy is my medicine. That soothes her. And you come to the right place. Yes. Jacqueline says, watching your show, Sybil, on YouTube. Aww. That is very nice. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. We'll continue to endeavor to soothe your soul as you watch us and stay with us. Evelyn Dawkins says on YouTube, says, I love word games, Scrabble, crossword puzzles, etc. I am in my haven. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That must be good for her because she wakes up in her haven to a new Wordle every day.
And I'm wondering if she is a Wordle person. I started out as a Wordle, and then it just kind of, once New York Times picked it up, I was like, that's okay. I'm good.
Too corporate, huh?
Yeah. I love watching television, says DG on YouTube. What are your shows that you love watching, DG? Tell us, please. And so, as I've mentioned, mine are the Christmas movies. Sylvia Crawford on Facebook says, praying that the whole bill is satisfying. Paying that whole bill is satisfying. No, praying that you can pay that whole bill.
Is, if you could pay that bill away, amen.
Okay,
all right.
Let the church say. Yes, so paying that whole bill is immensely satisfying. Dora Levette Tiggs, I don't sit still long enough to be soothed by anything. I do enjoy walking very much on Facebook. Well, you know what? Wherever you find your peace, I guess that's what we're asking, and what soothes whatever turmoil you may have, or difficulties or challenges or whatever. If it's prayer, if it's meditation, that's what we're looking for, and to soothe that. Well, I'm not saying everybody's, but as they say, to soothe the savage soul. Khameron, do playing video games and things like that, does that soothe you?
I'm re-examining my relationship to video games as of late. Not to say that I'll stop playing them, but the times at when I choose to play them, I'm like, okay, am I doing this as an escape from something? Am I procrastinating something? Usually, obviously, at their core, video games are in fact a simulation. It's an algorithmic program, that leads you to some sort of dopamine at the end. And I'm like, okay, well, how can I get this another way? I've also just stopped purchasing them, because I have friends who are always buying just the next game out. And I'm like, man, you got $80 like that just to drop on something you're only going to put a couple hours in. So so I've been trying to substitute some things in place of video games. I've been watching a lot more documentaries now, and to my earlier point about my aspirations and goals, I have this goal to write this sci-fi novel, and I'm like, you know what? If I write a paragraph a day for a year, that's 365 paragraphs by the time the year's out. So I've been really hyper examining on how I use my time. Some people may think that like that makes me like a madman, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and time is precious, and we waste way too much of it procrastinating and not getting to what we really want to do. So don't begrudge yourself about that, because trust me, we can waste all the time we want as far as video games. There's plenty of ways to waste time out here now.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And
I agree.
The one thing that the richest people can't have more of is time.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You can't get it back. You can't get it back. I laugh that the fastest hour in my day is the hour before, where things just go at hyper speed. And I laugh about it, but that's an hour that I won't get back, but I'm moving in constant, and trying to get stuff done. But it really is the fastest. And time just seems to move faster and faster the older you get. So
it does.
Yeah,
and that last 7 minutes before this show go really quick, because I plan on sitting here. And I look up, it is 5:54. Oh Lord!
Right. Exactly. Okay, so let's move on. Yolanda says it's time to move on to our trending topics. Damon, let's talk about your upcoming appearances. You mentioned City Winery. That's going to be your anniversary.
Yes, that's how I'm kicking off my 30th year in comedy and everything. I may do something every month. My birthday's in January as well, so that those two will come together. But this weekend,
what's your comedy anniversary date?
Actually, it's November. I don't know the actual date, but the first time I ever touched the mic was November of '92.
Wow.
So, but it's not working out the way I wanted to do anything in November, because I had other stuff to do. Plus, it's my first introduction to a Chicago City winery, so I thought I'd combine the two and use that as a good kickoff for the year. But this weekend, I'll be in Houston at the Comedy Lounge. And that's comedy spelled with a K. Don't ask me why. And then the following week, I'm going to the Stardome. And that's my first headlining weekend at the Stardome in Birmingham. So, and it's big because that's Auburn, Alabama's weekend, and they're playing in Birmingham, I suppose. I guess it's a home game for Bama. So, it's both a blessing and a curse if, I'll get a turnout. So I really need everybody that's in that area to kind of turn up for me, because then this is like a testing gig for if I'll do it again in the future. So those two things are what I'm looking forward to. And I want to make some money because the flights are high as eagle nuts. And
there's my godfather used to say giraffes.
Yeah, I didn't want to go that route, but so I got to make a few bucks on these, but I'm just looking forward to it. Everything's
so the City Winery date is, what is the date on that?
The actual date is January 26th, but they just announced the date that the on sale day is tomorrow. Awesome. So I would love to get those tickets flying out of there, so I could possibly and add another show possibly. So I performed there once with Selena Johnson, and one time impromptu with El DeBarge. So I'm looking forward to having my name on the board and selling some tickets and making people laugh. And I got a bunch of special guests coming because it's my anniversary. So look out for that. It's definitely going to be an event for Chicago.
For sure. No doubt about it.
Yep.
January 26th. And January is a big month for you, huh, young man?
It is. Yeah. It is. Yep.
For sure. Khameron, what's going on with you?
Oh man, next month is the day, December 17th and the 18th at ETA Creative Arts Foundation. The stage reading of my latest play, Coronary Artery. It'll be from 2:30 to 4:30, and of course, stay for the talk back so you can, pick the brains of the actors and the director and playwright, myself, about what inspired the piece and how do we reckon with the discomfort of our times. Of course, I've got the movie coming out next fall, but I've just this is the part that I don't like about being a playwright, which is I have to petition people to come see my work. It makes me sound
please, yes,
please support.
No, it's important.
Support the arts.
if you're not you're promoting yourself, who will? That's something that you really got to not feel uncomfortable about. And inundate people with it, because they'll forget. It's very important. Don't feel like you can never over promote a project such as that. So remind me, because I'll definitely post it, multiple times as you get closer to the date. Let's work on that. But don't, you gotta, if you a business with no sign is a sign of no business.
Come on. Come on, words to live by. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so this play is going to be good, and it's free. So come on down to ETA. ETA is also just like an incredible historic space.
And tell people what ETA is, because it is in Chicagoland. That's big.
Yeah, that's hallowed ground, and free is so easy to sell. So go for it.
Yeah, free. ETA Creative Arts found ETA Creative Arts Foundation is just a historic creative arts organizing space in Chicago's Grand Crossing neighborhood. The southeast side where all the trains used to run. They educated and empowered plenty of local Black talent there. All sorts of dancers, singers, actors there. So
my kids
definitely rich and
deep tradition,
creative history.
My kids went there, and Christiana is now a playwright and a renowned playwright and a writer for the TV show The Chi. She's working on another major project, but they spent some of their summer days in ETA programs.
Tell me what the Chi's policy is on writing your father into a script. I wonder what that is. She pitched me once, but they still go through casting. But she's also writing something for me for the upcoming season. Nice. Hopefully that I'll get. But she and I are going to collaborate once her schedule kind of cools down. And I want to write my story. And I have 3 or 4 different projects. So between her and Khameron, I need to get this done in 2023. Period. Okay.
I'm serious.
I've
been
trying to get on Christiana's radar. She came to one of my plays and she was like, "Hey, we should talk." And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, I got you on that. Yeah.
So
I got to tell you, I met Luke James at Stephen Hill's wedding. And he is, for people who don't know, Luke James, the singer and actor, is one of the stars of The Chi. And he is one of the nicest men I've ever met in this business. So cool. He was just so down to earth, sort of like I'm assuming what you felt when you met Alex Bugnon, because I've been a Luke James fan and I think that his work is really good. But when I went up and introduced myself, and he was just really lovely. That's the best word I can use to describe him. He was very, very humble, and it was a good time. And you love when you meet people like that in this business.
The comments say that you're beginning the word fine, Sybil.
And then he's fine.
But it's nothing worse than the flip side taking place when it's somebody you really admire and you finally get a chance to talk to him. Denzel. Boy, he got me. Boy, I don't know what he was going through at the moment, but it was when Quincy Jones won his Oscar, and all the biggest stars in Hollywood were all there. Michael Collier got me in this party. It was at Debbie Allen and Norm Nixon's restaurant, and Denzel was laying in the cut, and all I said is, "Hey, brother, I really appreciate your work," and he was like,
"Oh man."
And that night I shook hands with Robert De Niro, Christopher Walken, I met Tony Braxton, it was one of them nights. Leroy from Fame. Leroy from Fame, the black dude from Magnum P.I., Freddie Boom Boom Washington. Roger. And here comes Denzel, and Denzel was like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." He gave me the Heisman. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to meet him again," because I know he's a nicer old guy now. But
he is.
Yeah. Maybe he was going through a thing.
Let's talk about some stuff that's going on in the world. I don't know if you all were as disturbed as I was by the massacre on the campus of the University of Virginia at Charlottesville. Classes are set to resume tomorrow after a second day of classes were canceled after the 3 football players were killed on campus and new details emerging about their fellow student accused of killing them. A vigil was held Monday night, drew hundreds on the campus, candles placed around the statue of Homer, along with signs reading UVA Strong and 1-1541, the uniform numbers of the slain UVA football players Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry. A black man shooting and killing 3 other black men. 2 other people were also wounded, 1 in critical and 1 in good condition. The victims had just returned from a school trip late Sunday night when they were gunned down on or near a school bus, according to officials. And the suspect ran off. They had the campus shut down and locked down, and they did find him as of Monday morning. The killings were among at least 68 shootings this year on U.S. school grounds, including 15 on college campuses. That's why I worry, Khameron. You're on a college campus, your sister's on a college campus, and I'm like, where are these kids? What is going on? What? And the father of the boy, who has been charged, said that his name is Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. Mr. Jones Sr. said that his son talked about him being bullied. There was also some discussions about hazing going on. He had admitted to someone as most recently as September that he did own and have in his possession a handgun. The school went in and did their due diligence. They said they have not said if it was hazing, if he felt he was being bullied, but he did tell this to his father. And his father, told him, you just gotta. I guess he kind of told him, this is what I surmise from it. I don't have the exact wording, but you got to toughen up and not let this bullying bother you.
Maybe that's not what he wanted to hear.
That's and so the question is, when we're asking how people are, how they are, and also how can we help you? And I think it would have, behooved the father. I'm not sure what the mother and father situation was. They were interviewed separately, but the mother was just destitute from all of this. She was just bereft, and so they did investigate it. They weren't getting anything from him, so they just kind of let the case just kind of fell off by the wayside. They said that the roommate gave no indication of presence of any weapons. In the course of their investigation, they discovered that he previously had been tried and convicted of a misdemeanor concealed weapon violation in 2021, for which he received a 12-month suspended sentence and a small fine. And he was on the football team at one point, and these fellas that were also fellow football players. Davis was a junior from South Carolina. He was one of the top wide receivers for the Virginia Cavaliers this season. 6 feet 7 inches receiver. He was the team's primary deep threat. 16 catches for 371 yards this year. Also, Mr. Perry, a junior linebacker, played in 15 games over the last 3 seasons. And Saturday against Pittsburgh, he tallied 2 tackles in the 37-7 loss. His parents thank supporters for their condolences. And Mr. Chandler, a junior wide receiver and kick returner, just transferred to UVA from University of Wisconsin, where that football program is also very saddened by the tragic deaths.
So, well, this is so heartbreaking, and I'll try to put this like as succinctly as I can. Policy may, first of all, you can bet that this will be a question on the debate stage in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
You can absolutely bet. What are you going to do in an era of mass shootings? But aside from that, policy may solve the gun issue, but the only thing that will solve the hopelessness, that will quell the rage and the discomfort and the depression that these men feel is intimate interpersonal conversation. And that is a dying art form. The ability to sit someone down and speak to them and say, hey, I am here for you. Are you okay? And look them in the eye until they cry. That's what you have to do because everybody has a tell now. Everybody has everybody seeks some sort of final last gasp of attention before they pop off. And you really have to, it is now becoming a skill to be able to engage someone deeply in that way. And I hope that skill just doesn't get lost over time.
And not only is it
afraid of that.
It's not only being lost in our community. The it never really even has been developed, especially male on male, the father figure, fathers, the toxic masculinity that takes place when the suck it up and, man up, it's the mantra, like with my son, I actually had to go through some very deep soul searching with him before I realized, and this is 10 years after an event, that he was still struggling with something. And I said the right sentence and it triggered something, and he broke down emotionally, and we worked through some very painful moments based on the fact that I was just there to listen. I was dropping him off. He was about to go in the house, and I said something, and we ended up sitting in the car talking maybe 2 hours after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to, don't glaze over, are you okay, or
Right.
how's everything going? Because if someone's always okay, then they're not okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're absolutely right. And Khameron, I thank you for your words and sharing that, because during the recent gubernatorial debates in Texas between Abbott and Beto O'Rourke, the question, of course, because of Uvalde, was what are we going to do about this? And that's what was missing. It's important that we get a lot of these guns out of the hands and change some of the laws. Yes. Don't have the gun companies in your pockets. Yes. Whatever it is, but there was no talk about discussions and having talks with our young people that look, to some of us from the outside looking in, to be in distress. And if they don't look that way, still keep asking, how are you? And as you say, Damon, if they keep saying, I'm okay, I'm sorry. Not every day is an okay day.
Yeah.
It's not. And this is something that in radio, I've become very accustomed to just the words and not the picture, not looking at someone. And I will tell you that we have a production meeting every week. And initially, I was really against having the video portion of the production meeting. I'm like, there's just no, but sometimes you just need to put eyes on people. Sometimes you just need to say, I need to see your face. And Sundays, when we do it on Sunday afternoons, it's just not the time or whatever. But it's necessary in our small group, and it is a small group of us, just to put eyes on people. And that is what I have taken from this and the times that we're in. And
we definitely found that out during the lockdown. Just when Zooms came about, it just felt much better to see each other. So to this day, we continue our Tuesday night family Zoom. So when I leave here, that's what I do with a lot of my niece and nephews and my mother and my siblings. We all, those that are available, we lay eyes on each other once a week at least.
Well, Yolanda's giving me the eye. It's time for us to move on to to entertainment as we wrap this up. And
giving you the Tom Joyner.
Really, no, she's giving this statement, right? Say, Sybil, need you to move on. This is when it's really good to have friends, and Jay Leno is a great example of that. A friend saved his life this week, and he was sprayed with gasoline that erupted in fire working on one of his many cars. A friend was with him at the time, and he could have died in the fire, according to officials, that erupted in his Burbank garage. And that's serious that he says he's going to be out of commission for a week or two. George Wallace said the other day it's going to be longer than that. He says he was working on his 1907 white steam car in his garage this past weekend, fixing a clogged fuel line. He said there was a fuel leak and gasoline sprayed on his face and hands. Almost simultaneously, a spark triggered the explosion, setting the comedian on fire. What? He says his quick-thinking buddy, Dave, everybody needs a Dave, was right there and jumped on him, quickly smothering the flames.
Very smart.
Wow.
That's a friend and a quick thinker too. You don't want somebody who's like, oh my God, and just move into action. And he was rushed to a nearby burn center by ambulance, and he expects to be hospitalized somewhere between 5 and 10 days. The car in question A 1907, yes, 115-year-old car, and a fuel leak line, and fixing that, a spark, and that could have been the end of Jay Leno. Just thank God and your lucky stars and all the other gods out there for having friends and quick thinking on the part of your friends. And the last thing I'm going to leave you all with is Yogi's Jewel.
All right, Yogi.
My quick thinking friend and daily inspiration: let go of the pain that pierces your soul. Let go of the pain that pierces your soul. That's pretty dramatic too. That's Yolanda. But I thank you all so much for joining us, guys. It's great to see you, and I appreciate you, everyone that participated today. Thank you so much, and we will see you all again soon. Take care. Aloha.
Aloha.
Mm-hmm.